American dream is dead. But if I get elected president, I will bring it back bigger and better and stronger than ever before, and we will make America great again. Thank you.
Hello, my friends. 2016. You're watching Trump Talk US live in DC with Suzzanne Monk. We're just going to let folks come on into the room. We have Diane Ventura joining us today, so we're going to let her come on into the room as well. While you are here, please click the share button, click the retweet button. Let folks know we are live. We're going to be talking about some real serious economic issues in regards to the coronavirus tonight and the hashtag cancel everything movement on the left. So join in, click the share button, let folks know we're here, and we'll be up and talking about it. Just a few seconds here. I want to give people a chance to come on in, and we'll bring Diane in as well. Gotta show your Trump card. All this craziness just makes me want to vote for Trump twice. Make America. Up. I gotta put comments on. Well, neither is your spelling, Stable Genios. This is not a Trump virus. This is actually a Democrat panic-demic. The Democrats are going to own this panic and the billions of dollars in lost wages that they are causing to operate what this individual seems to want, the Trump virus, to operate this blame it on Trump scheme. Shameful. Shameful. But hey, that's what they're going to end up at the voting booth. Is a lot of very angry, broke people who know that the president, from the beginning, has been the one actually fighting to contain the epidemic and to deal with the fallout, and continues to do so. He will be speaking at 9 tonight. So this is why we're trying to get the show going today. How's it going, Anna Marie? Good to see you.
Do you like having the right to bear arms, protect your family?
So you're safe here because it's on digital, so my coughing isn't going to hurt you.
Have jobs available to us.
People.
You know who we need? This name starts with a D and ends with a Trump.
Come on, Trump. Love that president. Not a fan of the Democrats, though, you guys. Not a fan at all. This is how much I'm a fan of the Democrats right now. They are sad. They are sad. Hey, Regina, how's it going, my friend? Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. You are watching the one and only Trump Talk US live in DC with Suzzanne Monk. I am Suzzanne Monk. We are about 8 minutes away from our nation's beautiful capital. We are about 15 minutes away from the president's White House. I want to, of course, give a shout out to our sponsor, sendmag.com, who supports the show, and she does great work delivering just about anything possible in the Northeast of the country. In fact, she actually helped make sure a student got home from school the other day. So she'll even deliver your children, for crying out loud. She's great. And we love and we appreciate her. Now, I have Diane Ventura here. Let's see if I can add Diane into the stream. Diane, can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Great.
Can you see me?
Yeah, I can't see you, but I can hear you. And your little microphone is going bloop, bloop when you talk. So that's We at least know you're there and that's your voice. I'm glad you're on the show, Diane, tonight because of the fact that Diane's reconnecting right now, because of the fact that we are experiencing something that the left is calling #cancel everything. They are shutting down sporting events. They are shutting down several of the St. Patrick's Day parades. They are shutting down events all across the country. They're shutting down conventions. They're shutting down field trips. This is costing people billions and billions of dollars. And I know you are experiencing that firsthand, being someone who works with bringing bands to the St. Patrick's Day parade in New York City. Can you tell us what's going on with the parade? What have they told you? And what's the fallout from all of this?
Well, a couple things are happening. One is Americans are being fooled. They're being fooled that there's some type of an emergency happening right now. Are we at risk right now of the flu? Yes, we are. Yes. But this is a terrorist. This is an example of a financial terrorist attack on our nation. It is nothing other than that. And from the prophesied words of Abraham Lincoln, if we are going to collapse, it's going to be because within our own walls. And that's exactly what's happening right now.
Right.
Just the residual fallout that's going to happen in the service industry.
Yeah.
Because people are canceling everything. I live an hour north of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Peduto, the mayor of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania has canceled an outside parade this weekend because of a virus, because of something that cannot be corralled, you know?
Certainly not outside, you know, and of course, outside is a place where we have all the social distance that they keep telling us about. You know, bring your hand sanitizer, wash your hands before you go, don't touch your face, all of that. We should be fine. We've been fine through several flu epidemics, through the swine flu. I don't remember, even though the number of deaths for swine flu were much more than
I think it was 40,000, if I remember correctly. Not one single thing was canceled.
That's right.
Nothing. We have public schools closing. We have colleges. We have schools today that students have got notices that they had to be evacuated from the campus by 1 o'clock.
Yes, let's be really clear. I want to repeat what you just said, because it's not just that they're canceling classes. I've read through the news stories. They're like, oh, we're just canceling in-person classes. They're actually kicking these children out of campus. In some cases, here at George Washington University, they took 30 students who had attended the APAC convention at 1 a.m. and kicked them out of their dorm rooms out of panic over this virus. So they're being sent home.
And where do the people go that don't have homes?
Right.
Where do the students go who have family that can't afford to get them on a plane or a bus? Which on the plane or bus, they are going to be more susceptible to this virus than around the people they have been around for the past 6 months or a year at school,
right,
in the dorms they're living in.
Right.
So let's go to St. Pat's weekend. New York City is looking at their 259th parade. This parade has gone through the Civil War. This parade has gone through the influenza. Okay. People were dying on the streets, but they were still marching because of pride in American heritage of the Irish parade.
Right.
Now, there was a scare today because a female congresswoman, said she heard the parade was canceled. It was in the New York Post. It was hot off the press news. No. It's not canceled.
Right.
But I had really 18 to 20 emails in less than, is this true? Is it canceled? No. It's not. Just because some female congresswoman in New York, and her name will be revealed, she started this panic and said she heard it was canceled.
Yeah.
And at 4 something this afternoon, the New York Post prints it, and it was on New York One. So let's just look at the financial hardship this is going to cause.
Yes.
My industry, high school marching bands. These students across the United States, an instrument in their hand for more than 3/4 of their life. They have sold candy bars. They have practiced. They have worked so hard because they want to march on Fifth Avenue, because of a panic virus that we don't even have facts on yet. They are being told by their teachers, by their schools, they're not allowed now to travel. So this is their Super Bowl. This is their playoff game. This is their big moment. And they're being robbed of that. And they're being robbed of seeing shows on Broadway. They're being robbed of going on the cruise, on the Spirit of New York, the cruise that evening. They're being robbed of the Statue of Liberty tours and Top of the Rock, okay? This was part of their venue of where they were staying and what they were doing.
Yep.
All of those places now are not going to be serving the food, are not going to, the servers, the owners, they're not going to make their money.
Right.
Because of this fallout of the flu.
Right. The busboys, the waitresses, the cooks, the sous chefs, the guy who goes and picks up the deliveries. All of these people are losing money. I have read over the past day and a half, there have been hundreds of music events canceled. There are in every state, in Ohio, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Chicago, Illinois. We're seeing across the country here in DC, conventions, major conventions are being canceled. That means the guy who brings the tables in didn't get paid that day. That means the guy who sweeps up the floor isn't going to get paid this week. The guy who runs the audio, my husband, isn't going to get paid this week. That is happening across the country in epic levels for an illness we are told is supposed to be killing the world. Now, the reality of the situation is scientists in Canada, in China itself, we are seeing the rates go down. We are already seeing the backside of the curve. The early part of reporting, we did not have tests, so we have no idea if those numbers are accurate in any way whatsoever. Currently, we have had 28 deaths in the United States, 20 of which were at one nursing home. The same nursing home, which to me suggests that maybe we need to look into the cleanliness and the medical practices going on in that one nursing home. Certainly, these are elderly people who are immune compromised, who are also susceptible to the flu, to measles, to many of the other disease outbreaks we are experiencing right now in the United States. But that means that only 8 people have died in the United States outside of that one nursing home.
One long-term care facility. Long-term care facility in Washington State. More than 7/8 of the deaths in the United States are from a horrible, it's very sad. But let's go back to something you and I both know. This is not our home. Heaven is our home. And something that I want to mention right now, these congressmen who have self-quarantined themselves because they may have been exposed to something. Give me a break. Paul Revere's he's riding his horse up the side of the road saying the British are coming. Are these pansies, these men who are making $178,000, whether they show up at work or not, are they going to say, you know what, I can't do anything. I might be exposed to a coronavirus.
Right.
That's where we are right now. We're living
from a national security level because we are in a situation where China can send us some scary information and we are literally quarantining our legislative officials and demanding the quarantine of our president of the United States. The G7 conference that was going to be held here in the United States, I believe in Pittsburgh, to be fair, will not be held live. They will be doing that through telecommunications.
Which, by the way, is something I've suggested they did for 15 years now, because they can do it the way we're doing it right now. Why are we spending this money to have these people fly all over the United States into my great town of Pittsburgh? However, let's go to, you mentioned China. We won't feed our dogs food from China right now because we don't trust it. And 98% of the pharmaceutical medicine that is being sold in the United States is processed where, Suzzanne?
In China.
What?
Yeah. You know what's interesting, Diane? Under the Obama administration, we saw several pharmaceutical plants where they can make and produce pharmaceutical drugs for the United States in Puerto Rico that were shut down under the Obama administration so that business could actually go to China. We have empty pharmaceutical factories sitting in the bankrupt and broke territory of Puerto Rico that could be turned back on. And put back to work, both helping the people of Puerto Rico and, of course, providing a level of security, pharmaceutical security for the United States. We have not yet been able to do that, in part because, as you know, the Puerto Rican, the government of Puerto Rico and of the states there and of the cities there, the people who are controlling the ability for these factories to be re-engaged are Democrats who hate the president and will do anything, absolutely anything, no matter who it harms, to attempt to stop this president.
To attempt to stop. But, I truly believe that this is going to backfire on them, and we are going to see good come from this. We are going to see people wake up and please, for once, quit telling me that you saw it on the news, so it's true. I have a guy today who I adore. He's a very good friend of mine. He's active on Flag Drop. But he said, Diane, they just said that it's a national pandemic. Oh, so there's a disease in more than one country? There's a virus in more. So is obesity. So is diabetes, which, by the way, both of them killed more people today than this virus is ever going to kill.
And we use words like pandemic. We use words like that, which, they are used specifically in medical terms to describe what is happening to the virus. So, but we use it in a frightful way. For example, the president is going to get on television tonight at 9 p.m. And from my understanding and from what I am hearing, he is going to be declaring a national state of emergency. Now, the Democrats are going to smear that every way they can. But why is our president doing that? He's doing that so he is now legally able to free up the funds that he can now get to people who are being economically affected by this panic. And the only way to release those funds legally is for the president to declare a state of emergency. So again, they're going to wake up tomorrow. This is what's going to happen. They're going to use these words to make people more frightened. But in reality, these are just words. They're words that mean what they mean. If you were smart enough to understand what an epidemic is, what a pandemic is, what a virus is, what an upper respiratory infection is, what the pneumonia is, etc. If you were able to understand these things, you study biology, you would have a much calmer perception of that. But unfortunately, we live in a world where we have dumbed down our education system to the point where people do not understand basic biology. They do not understand the difference between an airborne contracted disease and a disease that has to be contracted through bodily fluids like the coronavirus. They do not understand those things. And so they are so easily manipulated into panic and fear. And it is literally a terror attack. It is an attack by using fear to create a panic in people. And you see, that's why the shelves are empty of water and toilet paper and hand sanitizer. And we see events being canceled across the country. In fact, they're going to call out the National Guard. So what are they going to do?
Well, they already have. They already have in New York. What are they going to do? Corral people to the donors? You remember that so proud to be from America that we were teaching and educating third world countries to wash, eliminate disease by such a, okay? We now live in a nation that we are depending on our government to tell us to wash our hands. You're at a restaurant and it's to wash hands.
Right.
We have dumbed ourselves down so much. And in a time where 30 years ago in high school, when we were told that, oh, we're going to be working 20-hour weeks. We're going to, technology is going to make things so much better. We're going to be flying around like the Jetsons. No.
Yep.
We're being told by our government that we need to wash our hands.
Yep.
That's where
we did get that little robot vacuum, though. I do want to say in favor, to the credit of the Jetsons, we did get the vacuum. So there's that small. But I can't either. I have 3 floors. It doesn't do stairs. So But
I'm a control person. I'm back.
Well, and I noticed they never had the real problem on the Jetsons of it rolling over some sort of accident by one of your pets on the floor and making it even worse mess. So, technology is not how it plays out in the cartoons. And, the reality is that what we're seeing is being pushed by the Democrat left. In fact, we have shut down through April. They're going to be shutting down Capitol tours here in the city of Washington, D.C., but they are not shutting down the lawmakers getting together and continuing to make bills and spend our money.
With the exception of the ones who have put themselves in a self-quarantine.
Yes. I'm glad you brought that back up, because that's very, we saw Matt Gaetz did that, Ted Cruz did that. We had several individuals on the Republican side after CPAC who chose to self-quarantine. And like you said, and I believe this as well, this is going to be used against our president going forward. And it already is. We already see the Democrats claiming that Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders are going to be canceling rallies because of the virus. Quote, why won't the President Trump do the same? And because when Trump is on that, he's going to be told his own Republicans are self-quarantining. Why is he not self-quarantining himself as well?
Yeah.
So it's a plan from the beginning. They have unfolded this economic plan to destroy both the economy. And what's really sad, the stock market is going to recover. In fact, everyone got so upset that the oil prices were dropped down, but gas is going to go down a little bit as well. The real concern I have, under $1 I've seen a few places, under $2 I've seen in a few places now. But the real devastation, and something that cannot just be easily restored overnight, is the economic fallout in the service industry, in the hospitality industry, in the event industry that will be long lasting. And this is not something that's going to recover in a few months. You very well may lose clients permanently because of their inability to get refunds, something that is beyond your control.
Completely. Completely out. And it's become panic.
Actually showing a bunch of this, and then we can talk a little. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I wanted to add this. There are a lot of hotels now that are having this problem. They're refusing to pay cancellation fees. The airlines refusing to pay cancellation fees. People are being cut out of money that they spent on trips and travel because these facilities are not giving them back the money, or are not able to give them back the money. Now, can you speak a little bit from your expertise about what it takes to get your money back?
Oh, well, these companies are in business to be in business, okay? They need to make money. We live in a capitalist nation. I want everybody to be able to make money.
Yep.
And they had blocked rooms at different hotels like we do every year. They were reserved for us and our group. That hotel still needs to pay their taxes. That hotel still needs to pay their overhead. That hotel's responsible for their expenses, and they could have rented those blocked rooms to somebody else who perhaps is going to utilize them. Okay, they shouldn't have to take a hit because of panic, because of a flu, because of a virus. You know, we did this through 9/11. It was real. There were attacks on our nation. We came together as a nation. Everybody worked together. We all got through it. This, I feel, is a silent killer. It is an invisible virus.
Yep.
We have to let it run its course. And that is what our bodies do. That is how our God-given immunity works.
Yes.
You get exposed to something. Your body takes a picture of it. It says, we're going to either kill this or it's going to kill you.
Yes.
Well, guess what? When you live through it, your immunity is better and stronger because of it.
And we are seeing 99.7% of the people under age 60 or 70 recovering from it. It's almost 99% for anyone under 80.
And their immunity is stronger because of it on the other side. A fever is not anything to be afraid of. It is your body working correctly. Right. And we are putting people out of business. We are robbing children the opportunity to march in Walt Disney World and on Fifth Avenue because we're fearful. The Bible tells us how many times, do not be afraid. Every time there's an angel that comes to someone in the Bible, it says, do not be afraid. Mm-hmm. How many times does God say, do not fear?
Well, isn't that interesting that we see churches the houses of God, if anywhere that faith was going to reign supreme and people were going to come together and believe that God has the capacity to heal not only this, but any other disaster that might come our way. We see churches canceling services. We see churches canceling communion. We see individuals being kicked out of their churches. We have doors being closed. We see charitable services no longer being available to individuals who are being helped by those churches because panic over the coronavirus. I want to just speak out, if I could, to all of the pastors of these churches and priests who are serving as the leaders, the religious leaders of these flocks. What message are you sending to your flock when your information and your choice comes not from faith in God, not from a desire to heal and to help, but out of fear and panic that comes from the news? These churches should be going out and helping individuals who are struggling with the virus. They should be going out helping individuals who are out of work because of this. They should be engaging in community service because of this, not hiding with their hands in gloves and masks on their faces.
And if I could quote our Messiah, "Oh, you of little faith."
Mm-hmm.
Come on, when the times get tough, the tough get tougher, or something like that.
Yep.
Go into the pits. Go in and help the people.
Yep.
Trust your God. Trust your immunity.
Yep.
We have a nation of pansies, Suzzanne.
Well, and we have people like our own Scott Pressler, who you know and I know we both love dearly, going into San Francisco, where the diseases he needs to be concerned about aren't a flu or the latest cold. It's the plague, the bubonic plague.
And you and I prayed for him together, and we just, asked God to protect him, and that the soles of his shoes wouldn't let needles puncture him, and that God would fill him with his Holy Spirit. And and that's what we do for each other as friends and as a nation.
Yeah. And I'm going to make an announcement. Scott Pressler has announced just this afternoon that his cleanup in, I believe, Pennsylvania is going to be going on.
Yes,
despite the events being canceled. He says they're already wearing gloves and masks anyway. So nothing is going to stop us from our mission to continue to make America great again and to keep making America great.
No, and we just have to every single day do the best that we can.
Yeah.
And let's talk about our great president who's going to be speaking soon. Wouldn't it be great, Suzzanne, if he said, we are closing the borders down. We are locking everything up. There's an answered prayer, and there's something that we can be happy about, this daggone virus that has everyone's hair on fire. We're going to finally close this border that you and I have been begging for 5 to 10 years now.
Well, and while we're speaking about what the president is going to talk about tonight, let's talk about what the president already did starting in December, when he took the early action to shut down travel from China, to make sure that people who are coming in from the affected areas of the world were actually being tested, were healthy and safe when they got into the country. He was railed by the left for being a racist, for blocking travel from China. Today, they're screaming for him to block travel from Italy, Europe, all of these other places, and blaming him because he has not responded to their decisions, not the actual actions that the administration took from the beginning to get on top of this and to continue to protect the American people, which I suspect he will come out again tonight and make even bolder steps to not only now protect the American people, but heal the damage that has been done by this Democrat panic.
Yeah, bring it.
It's going to be so important as we are going forward. And I was talking with my good friend Greg Stewart earlier about this. It is going to be important for us patriots going forward to continue to deepen the narrative, to share the narrative and the true narrative that it is the Democrats who have created this panic. They have created this panic because they hate our president, because they would destroy the entire country if it would allow them to get rid of Donald J. Trump. And they must own the devastation, the economic devastation, not the disease, It's not their fault there was a disease, but it is their fault that they have created this panic and the economic fallout from that. They have to own that all the way to the ballot box. And it's going to be on you and I and our other fellow patriots to continue to share that message, because that is a message I think even the president is going to have a hard time hitting hard at. Sometimes the president has to play politics and we in the grassroots have to be the bulldogs on the issues. And this is one of those issues we as patriots are going to have to nail to the Democrats.
Hey, I think I figured out how to get my...
Oh, look, let's do that. Okay, so I'm going to pull you out of this one. I'm going to remove that one, and then we're going to pull you up here. Yay! Oh, and your beautiful backdrop is so delightful and so natural. And I'm just all cardboard boxes and Trump towels over here, but it's all good. It's all good.
For the day, and when we decided to do this, I thought I better get to the gym. So, oh, it's so nice to see you.
It is nice to see you as well. It's good to see you, everyone. Diane Ventura, who has been talking with us for the top half hour of the show, and we have been talking about the economic fallout from the panic surrounding the coronavirus and the damage, the long-term damage that, my real concern is the long-term damage that will occur. Many of these individuals who are losing wages, who are losing paychecks, they're not going to be able to recover from those things. I've already seen several people who are concerned about evictions, losing electricity, losing services because they cannot afford bills. They have been cut off 100% from their weekly income or bi-monthly income because of this panic.
And well, this is the terrifying part. The state workers, the school teachers, the college employees,
Mm-hmm.
They're still going to get a paycheck for work that's not being completed.
Yeah.
A friend of mine whose son is at Ohio State, he's locked out of his dorms this morning. Those college professors are still going to get paid. Those parents who are paying for those classes are still going to be responsible. He's an engineer degree. This is his senior year.
Yeah.
I have a friend who had a daughter who spent 2 weeks at a spring break in Italy.
Mm-hmm.
Neat, huh? So, of course, we're praying for her. It was a big concern.
Right. Yes.
She was fine. I saw her Sunday. Do you know what? When they asked her 3 questions when she was leaving Italy. Have you had a fever?
Mm-hmm.
Were you exposed to anybody who has the coronavirus? And do you have any symptoms? They didn't even take her temperature. On Sunday, she flew home from Italy. Then, when she was in the United States, didn't even ask her anything. Nothing.
Right.
But the media wants us to have our hair on fire because Italy has had some deaths. Horrible. I'm very sorry. I'm very sad that there's some people dying.
Yeah.
But guess what? Death is every bit big a part of life is birth. And let's go to birth for 30 seconds here.
Sure.
How many beautiful babies were aborted today and ripped out of their mothers' bodies? But we're concerned about the flu.
Mm-hmm.
We're canceling. We're shutting down schools.
Mm-hmm.
We're stopping education. We're destroying careers and businesses.
Yes. Well, and let's talk about providing appropriate health and natal and prenatal care, OBGYN care. Women who are pregnant who need medical care are not able to access hospitals in the same way because some of these hospitals have to be cracked down
because they're inundated by morons, by weak-minded fools who say, I need to come here because I got an email that said I might have been exposed to something.
Yes, and
something that you don't even have symptoms for.
Well, and we have a good friend, your friend and mine, Ryan, who we know as Lady MAGA on the show as well, was unable to get medical care this week for an unrelated medical condition because he had been to CPAC. When he went to his doctor's office, they sent him away and told him he had to go to the emergency room or to the Department of Health and be tested for coronavirus before he could be treated for any other medical care, merely because he had attended CPAC. Now, I know for a fact CPAC has personally contacted every single individual whom they know had direct contact with the so-called patient zero. The so-called patient zero is recovering nicely with no long-term effects of the illness. There have been zero additional individuals who have tested positive for coronavirus because of the contact they have had with this individual. And yet, people we know and love can't get medical treatment merely for having attended an event.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I think it was a plant. I'm going out with this now, Suzzanne. I'm sure you already knew that, but it was a plant. I'm telling you.
And the operation that came after that made it very obvious that there was indeed a plan to use this opportunity at CPAC, where we all know the president is very accessible. He does come in and shake hands. It is possible for people to interact with him. They knew very well that this was going to be a viable method. If you got to Matt Schlapp was definitely going to shake the president's hand, and they would be able to use that against the president, and they are doing exactly that.
Have no fear. Our God will turn this into good. You know he will.
I agree. For all of those folks, for all those folks that are struggling with the economic fallout of this, I just pray for each and every one of you, and certainly let you know that there are lots of us who are struggling. I know Diane is going to be writing the president. I'm going to be writing the president. I'm also going to be writing the mayor of DC and suggest that they put a stay on any evictions going on in the district until we can actually get a handle on the problem. We need to stop the
let's
fallout.
talk about your awesome husband, Alex, who's so brilliant, talented.
Yeah.
Tell us real quick, and then we need to get going.
Well, we have as far as my husband is concerned, not only have we had 3 days of work canceled because of the local convention that he was going to be audio teching at, but his performance at the Pakistani embassy has also been canceled. We have lost about $1,200 this week so far. So, yeah. And that's actually on the low end of a lot of my friends that I'm hearing. A lot of the people who are really taking the hit. I know you and your husband and your company are taking huge losses, and losses that are yet to be determined, Diana. As we talk, we don't even know what's going to happen going forward with many of these schools. This might have been their one time that they actually pulled all the money together. This could demoralize these kids from ever doing it again. This could be a long-term loss of business, not just a current one.
The residual of this at this point is unmeasurable, and fearful that this type of catastrophe can happen simply because the news is misinforming people. But my biggest fear is the weak-minded people who are falling for it and believing it.
Yes.
What if this were a real emergency? Okay. What if we needed all hands on deck, and we have grown men putting themselves in a self-quarantine and taking themselves to the emergency room and doing live videos? Why? To keep us informed.
Right.
It's adding to the chaos.
Yes.
The congressman in North Carolina.
Yes.
He's locked himself in a room in his home. How is that being productive?
It's being panic-inducing. It is inducing panic. And I called it out the day that Ted Cruz self-quarantined himself, and I will continue to call this out. You are helping to induce panic. What you should be doing is doing videos of you washing your hands and coughing in your sleeve and continuing to do your job.
And only buying the toilet paper that you and your family need this week.
That is correct. Ladies and gentlemen, please only buy the toilet paper your family needs for your shopping period. If you shop every 2 weeks, don't buy 10 weeks of toilet paper. It's out of control. You don't even,
that is
nobody even have the storage space for any of this toilet paper anyways. I don't even know where you're keeping this toilet paper.
About the toilet paper scare for a long time. Me, you, and Ben. I know it.
Yeah. Now there are people living in forts of toilet paper in their house because they have nowhere to keep all the toilet paper they bought.
I love you. You make me laugh.
I have to keep making people laugh, because if we don't laugh, we're all going to go insane. And one of the other things that's really kind of hit me very hard this week, and I feel very upset because in the middle of this pandemic, we are actually missing real information. Harvey Weinstein was sentenced to 23 years in prison today. Did anybody tell you about that?
Did you see some moron put on Facebook that the president pardoned it, and people believed it, and they were sharing it on social media?
Because we
do
used
some
to have
research
these
before you
stories.
share something.
Because we used to have these stories come out on the news, and you could check it against 2 or 3 different news sites, and if they were all in agreement, you could trust that was true. But that is no longer true.
No.
Every single news site will tell you a lie and will spin the story they want to be the narrative. So we're losing track of these cases where we are actually outing the vastly evil pedophile industry going on in Hollywood, where men and women studios have been profiting from the sexual exploitation of children for decades. We're losing track of that because of this virus. So the Democrats have been very effective, not only in the economic
Well, their
fallout.
timing was perfect this time.
Yeah.
Their timing was perfect.
Yeah. And we, many of us, because we are falling for their plan, are letting the terrorists win. And I know when we stood together as a nation after 9/11, the mantra was, we will not let the terrorists win. We feared planes could be shot down. We feared bombs could be everywhere. We went out in public, even in fear.
Yeah, we weren't self-quarantining ourselves.
It's time to do that now. It's time for patriots.
We have to do it.
I know that the left is going to get mad at you. I know that your panicking Pam friends are going to tell you you're exposing people, you're being dangerous, you're not believing. I don't care. Go to the events. Go to the park. Go to the restaurants. Go out of your house, wash your hands, use basic hygiene and protocol, just like we do every flu season, to try not to catch a cold or the flu from strangers, but continue to live your lives. If we don't, the terrorists are going to win.
Put on your armor of God and go out there every day and do the best that you can.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
Look, if it makes you feel better, do like that crazy lady did on the bus and put the plastic bottle over her head. Did you see the videos of the people? My favorite was the woman who put plastic bags on her feet, like you did when you had to walk through the snow as a kid. Are you going to get the virus through your shoes, ma'am?
Was that the video from the school in Mississippi or something?
Mm-hmm.
It was. Oh, my gosh. Oh, public announcement.
Yeah.
The mask is if you are infected and you want to protect others.
Right.
Putting a mask on your face, which is cloth, and it cannot be sterilized.
Right.
You are subjecting yourself to more germs and touching your face more than you should.
Yeah.
So the morons that spend all the money on the masks, they're making themselves more susceptible to the virus than if they would just wash their hands and quit touching your face.
And unfortunately, medical supplies companies are having shortages because of the overbuying supplies that should be going to medical professionals and medical facilities who need the same thing they're mad about. We're not prepared enough. Well, because you guys are buying everything, and we now have to rerun our supply chains because of you crazies.
And the capitalist in me loves it. Buy it all, please.
Yeah.
Just be smarter about it.
Yes. Well, it's a little bit of that Keynesian idea of economics, where if we break the window, somehow fixing the window is going to create an economic boost, when in reality, we're just replacing what we already had.
Boots on the ground type of jobs, huh?
Yes. Well, and there are some innovators. So for all the folks who are out there trying to figure out how to make a little money off of this, I personally, Dan, I've come up with a few good ideas. I do have an entire roll of Nancy Pelosi toilet paper, and I may be dividing them into individual squares and making Nancy Pelosi paper coasters, laminate them, so you could have toilet paper coasters to commemorate this crazy time that we are all going through together.
I think it's brilliant.
We got to do something. No, literally, I have to do something because I've got to figure out how to pay the bills because I lost $1,200 this week because panicking Pams and Democrat terrorists. So yay!
I love you. Thanks
I
for
love
letting
you
me
too.
take
Diane,
up some of your time on this show.
I thank you for coming in, and I always appreciate you. As always, everybody, I want you guys to go to the TrumpTowel.com. Diane is doing fantastic work for our president and for our country. She is supporting not only the American first values, but our faith, our family, our freedom, the things that we hold most dear in this nation. And if you go to the TrumpTowel.com, you can get the little Trump towel, the rally towel, you can get the beach towel, you can get the bath towel. You have all the collection, and take it with you. Go to the rallies, bring your Trump towel, wave it, get pictures with it, post them in Operation Towel Drop to show everybody you're brave and bold and you're not being stopped. And
not a pansy. Another use for the many uses of the towel drop. When you have a cough, use it as your handkerchief.
I have a towel right here. Hold up.
Cover your cough.
I have. This is my personal towel, so I won't give this to anyone else. But you see, I'm coughing. Excuse me.
You just saved a life.
I just saved a life. And maybe earned a vote, and that's what's so important. Do not fear going to Trump rallies. We have to continue to fill these stadiums. Don't let the Democrats get away with this. We need to make them own this economic devastation. And it's patriots like me and Diane and so many of my other great listeners that tune in that are going to be the driving force that makes the Democrats take responsibility for what they've done. We can't let them get away with this, you guys. We cannot.
Oh, it's not. Our awesome God is going to turn this around and reveal so much. They have gotten themselves in too deep with this. This took off way more than they thought it was going to.
Yep.
And now they are financially going to have to start.
Well, it's going to look really bad in a few weeks when we see this. If the trends continue as I am seeing through a lot of the scientific information that is coming out, as we see the virus taper off and this current epidemic whittle down as they all do, they're going to have to explain the economic fallout. And we're certainly going to make sure they have to explain it.
Well, they're certainly going to try to blame it on that mean orange man. But guess
I love Orange Man. I am a fan of Orange Man because
we will keep speaking the truth, revealing the truth, and
indeed.
And protecting
now, while I still have it on camera, even President Nutcracker felt like he had to get into the fun, and he's got his little mask. Let me see if I can try to show that. He's got his little mask here.
He's always up for a good time.
Well, you know, the Nutcracker flu could be much more dangerous. So if it transmits from Nutcracker to human, we want to prevent that from happening at all, you know. So.
Please.
You got to make jokes. You got to make jokes. If you don't, you'll go crazy.
I can only make so many things in one day.
I appreciate so much you coming in and talking about your personal experiences and also just sharing with many of our viewers, what's going on around the country and your faith and confidence in God working in powerful ways at all times. And your faith keeps me strong, even sometimes when I'm mostly mad. So I appreciate it so much. And I know everyone else appreciates it as well. And we're about 10 minutes away from the president talking, so we'll wrap up here, and we're going to listen to the president.
And I'll talk to you tomorrow morning.
Love you, my friend. Everybody, thank you, Diane, for tuning in.
Thanks.
And that's how we do it. See, the technology, it's coming together. The technology is coming together. Thank you for tuning in, everybody. I appreciate so much all of my viewers who listen on a regular basis. Please do click the share button, let folks know to listen to this episode. We do want to continue to spread the positive message, and we certainly want to continue to motivate our people here on the side of our president to make the Democrats own their shameful terroristic behavior, and that messaging is going to be up to us. So stay healthy, wash your hands, okay? Don't touch your face. It's bad for the skin anyway. It creates wrinkles. Get plenty of fluids. Get plenty of rest. And continue to live your life. It's so, so important. Until next time, everybody, this has been your girl, Suzzanne Monk, and my good friend, Diane. Jump it out.